So this video is on the slope-intercept form. What that means is, in pretty much everything in algebra can either have an equation attached to it and a graph attached to it. Either or. Like if you have an equation, most likely there's a graph attached to it. So when you have an equation that has an x and a y, then it makes a linear equation, which makes it a line. And that's what we've been doing the past 2 days, finding out the slope of the line. So now we're going to look at it as an equation. But one thing that we need to add before we go further is a y-intercept. And what's a y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. I think of like an interception. Oh, that's not a good thing, but you know, think of an interception. What happens in an interception? Quarterback throws the football, supposed to go to the wide receiver. Okay? Okay, so but the quarterback throws the football to the wide receiver. But interception! Oh no! So defense guy, I don't know what position it would be, but the defense guy crosses the line of the football. Okay? So if the quarterback's supposed to throw the ball to the wide receiver, here's the line of the football. The defense guy comes by and goes, whoop, yeet, out of there. So the defense crosses that line of the football. So that is exactly what our lines have been doing. If I go back, way back to this, it crosses the y-axis. Look here, it's crossing this line right here, is crossing the y-axis, intercepts the y-axis. All right, so that's what a y-intercept is, crosses the y-axis, where the line intersects the y-axis. Still the same slope. So again, this is sort of kind of like a formula, not really, sort of kind of. The y and the x never change. It's always a y, there's always an x. Your m and b, notice I circled the plus sign, I do things on purpose. The m and b are your constants in this situation. All right, so here's our equation. Y equals 4x plus 12. It kind of looks like what we've been doing with solving equations, except we have two variables. You know, if this was a 14 over here, we draw that line down, swap it around, solve it, x equals whatever. But it's not. Okay, so easy enough. Our formula is y equals mx plus b. So what's m equal? 4. What does m stand for? Slope. What does b equal? It matches with the 12. What does B stand for? What's it represent? Y-intercept. Okay, so you know me. I like to do little shorthands. I'm going to do INT for intercept. And it is a plus 12, so it's a positive 12. We are stating the slope in y-intercept, not doing anything else. Just taking those numbers out of the equation, dropping them down, finding out which one's which. All right. Oh no, this one doesn't have a number Oh yeah, it does. Oh, you know, if there's not one, you put one. That's right, that's right. Okay, so remember, this is our mx plus b. So what is the number in front of x? M. What is the number in front of x? -1. M represents slope. So slope is -1. B represents y-intercept. B is +4. +4. Oh, of course. Then there you're like, oh, Miss Peg, are all the problems going to be that easy? And I'm like, no. Okay. Still the same, even though we're virtual, we're still the same. I start off with the easy stuff and then progressively get harder, but that's okay. We're still good. All right, so now here's the problem. In my other two, the y was already by itself. So everything was smooth as gravy. We were all good. But you know me, I gotta go and ruin it. What's that show? Adam ruins everything. They should have Beck ruins everything. So the y is not all by itself. Well, we're gonna use our solving equation skills to get y all by itself. What shall we do? Inverse operation. If this is a +3x, I can subtract 3x. Subtract 3x. Now y is all by himself. My little Mr. Grumpy old Y don't want to have any neighbors. So he goes next door and says, hey 3x, can you move across town? So 3x says, okay, I'll move across town. Packs his bags, moves across town. But can we combine 8 and 3x? No, because they're not like terms. 8 is a constant and 3x has a variable. Now for me, and because I like to have my x first and then my y-intercept, I'm going to put the 3x first and then a +8. Just write them side by side. Now I can figure out, oh, what's the slope and y-intercept? So my slope is -3 and my y-intercept is +8. Oh, bummer. Again, y's not all by itself. So we got to move the 5x over by inverse operation. Since it's a +5x, I'm going to go subtract 5x. And then everybody's like, Miss Bag, there's a subtract sign in the problem. Why are you subtracting? You just said inverse operation. Inverse means opposite. If that's subtract, why are you subtracting? It should be add. But it's not. I'm doing the opposite of what I wrote down, the 5x. If it's a +5x, I've got to go subtract 5x. So if I subtract 5x here, guess what? I got to subtract 5x on the other side to keep my equation balanced. So my 5x goes away, and I'm left with -y equals -5x plus 22. Everybody okay with that? It's a -y because it was subtract y, and so when I had to bring that down, it turned into a negative. Remember the whole debate? You say Raymond, I say ramen. We're talking about the same little noodles with the stuff in it, and you heat it up and it tastes delicious. All right, that's the great debate. How do you say that? How do you pronounce those noodles? Well, the great debate is it was a subtract sign, but now I'll drop it down and it's a negative sign. Means the same thing. Okay, once again, I put my variable first and then my number, my constant. That's just a personal preference, doesn't matter. Is y all by itself? Nope. It's got a negative sign. Oh, goodness. So how am I going to get rid of that negative 1? Go back to your solving equation. Solve an equation. If I'm solving an equation, what would I do? I'm going to divide by negative 1. Well, if I divide one side by negative 1, I've got to divide the other side by negative 1. But which one? The 5 or the 22? They both get it. It's kind of like if I were passing out candy. I would need to pass out candy to everybody because that's only fair. So when we divide by negative 1, we divide by negative 1 by everybody. We don't want to leave anybody out. No, no. Mamas be calling up here. Miss Beck did not give my child a piece of candy. So we're going to give everybody a piece of candy. We're going to divide everything by negative 1. So we have y equals positive 5x and a negative 22. Remember, our whole process here is to find out what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. So our slope is 5. And our y-intercept is negative 22 because it's a negative 22 there. Oh goodness, y is not by itself. So I've got to take up this 1/2 x, and pack his bags and move him across town. Gotta move him across over here. So I've got to do inverse operation or opposite operation. Since this is a minus 1/2 x, I'm gonna add 1/2 x. Add 1/2 x. Woo! Hallelujah. Y is all by itself. But remember, my preference, I have the 1/2 x first. It's a positive 1/2 x. So I'm going to just write 1/2 x. Don't have to have a plus sign. And then the plus 21 because it's a positive 21. So what is my slope? 1/2. And my y-intercept, 21. That's it.